What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another award-winning video about an inconvenient topic, about lies, public perception, and trying to find your belonging in this crazy world. It's something you can't condone, but you can completely understand. Everyone's favorite thing, meme coins. Now, meme coins are getting pretty popular, but why are so many people buying these? I mean, everybody knows they're a bad investment. I mean, I didn't read The Intelligent Investor, but I'm pretty sure this guy didn't say to buy meme coins. If deep down everyone knows that they're in bad investment, why are people, especially young Zoomers like me, buying them so much? What value do they even have, if they even have any? And I can think of a couple reasons to tell you, but before I do that, I want to shame you a little bit. Yeah, you specifically, because I think, this pains me to say, but I think you're a little ungrateful. I mean, have you said thank you once? Because I want to set the stage a little bit. Where do we find ourselves in the world economy in 2025? Well, the S&P 500 and NASDAQ are near all-time highs despite all the Iran-Israel stuff. It's been going up for a while now, and it's near all-time highs. Bitcoin, near all-time highs. Gold, near all-time highs. Housing prices are up a lot, which is good if you own a home, like 66% of Americans do. GDP, okay, technically did shrink 0.1% in Q1, but that was due to a lot of people pre-importing stuff before tariffs. It's expected to keep growing according to the Fed. All the good things are up, and all the bad things are down. Unemployment is 4.2% according to the Fed. Inflation is down to only 2.3% in April 2025, below the 50-year average inflation rate of about 3.5%. You get really different numbers depending on where you look, but it's about 3.5%. Egg prices are down. OJ prices are down. All the bad stuff is down. The head of the Federal Reserve says no recession on the horizon. Remember this picture, by the way. But he literally said it too, if I can find the clip.
Well, have we experienced a hard landing?
No, we sure
haven't.
haven't.
Are we in a recession?
No, we're not.
I call that a soft landing.
You get the idea. By every metric and number, and according to our trusted experts, our economy is doing really good. Which brings me back to you. If I asked you how you thought the economy was doing, your ungrateful ass would probably say, I don't think it's doing too good. And in fact, if you ask anybody about how they feel the economy is doing, they'll paint you a completely different picture. I mean, all anyone ever talks about is how expensive everything is. It's kind of annoying. All they bring up, college is so much money, cars, oh my car is so much money, gas is so much money, food, housing, literally, it's all anyone says, how expensive everything is, how hard it is to find a job. I got my tweets here too. I got firsthand experience, and my viewers know, my 20 viewers know, I literally only started to post on YouTube because I couldn't get a job anywhere else. Well, at the time of writing the script, I actually started a new job yesterday, but I literally got rejected by McDonald's. Have you even heard of anyone getting rejected from McDonald's? Have you ever even seen a McDonald's rejection email before? This is what it looks like, in case you're wondering. It's probably the worst thing you'll ever read in your life, especially when it's got your name on it and it's addressed to you. It was terrible. Oh my God. But anyway, if you tell anyone, well, actually, statistically speaking, the numbers are up, the economy's doing really good, they'll look at you crazy. It kind of reminds me of when I was talking to JB. That's Jeff Bezos. We're close, we're tight like that, so I just call him JB. But anyway, I was talking to JB where on the early days of Amazon, and he said something like, if the anecdotes and the data don't match, you should listen to the anecdotes.
I have a saying, when the data and the anecdotes disagree, the anecdotes are usually right. It doesn't mean you just slavishly go follow the anecdotes then. It means you go examine the data. And it's usually not that the data is being miscollected. It's usually that you're not measuring the right thing. If you have a bunch of customers complaining about something, at the same time, the metric look like, they shouldn't be complaining. You should doubt the metric.
Now, I admit I do not know enough about this stuff to know who should we listen to, whether the data is right and people are just on edge because of the news, and because we do really live in uncertain times, it's just easy to be more, I don't know, more worked up about stuff, or whether the data isn't capturing the full picture and the people are right, or maybe both. I don't know. But I do know from watching YouTube on the topic is that the same thing happened in 2008. Remember when I said to remember the head of the Federal Reserve saying no recession on the horizon? Yeah, that was actually the head of the Federal Reserve, Mr. Bernanke, in 2007, literally months before the Great Depression, not the Great Depression, before the Great Financial Crisis in 2007. If I remember correctly, we were in the middle of a recession here, but we just didn't even know it yet. But it's basically happened before. I remember in school, before COVID anyway, before it got bad, that throughout history, you can find many examples of people higher up who are like supposed to trust about this stuff, not really taking regular people seriously and downplaying what they say, especially when it comes to this stuff. I mean, this stuff happens before like every recession, but it doesn't matter whether or not I know to trust the data or the anecdotes. And if you couldn't tell by my McDonald's story, I definitely believe the anecdotes over the data. Not that the data is like incorrect or falsified or whatever. I don't know. I just feel like I trust the stories more. And I also feel like I cannot say, just personally, I cannot say the economy is doing good when there's a rejection letter from McDonald's with my name on it. You just can't be doing that. But anyway, what I think matters is that knowing that people act emotionally, like that's part of what makes you human, just being emotional. So it doesn't really matter if the data is right. If people just feel squeezed and like there's no more hope anywhere else, they're going to act like it. And before I connect this to meme coins, you probably see this connection. But before I do, I briefly want to talk about sports betting, because I think they're very similar in this regard. Think about all the sports betting ads you see everywhere. I mean, these companies are making more and more money every year, and they only make money if more people bet. And more people are gambling than ever. And why do people sports bet? Well, if you win a lot of money, obviously. But if you combine this with the fact that most people don't even consider it gambling, but as a form of entrepreneurship. You know, gamblers tell themselves like, oh, well, I know about sports, so I can make money using all my knowledge. It doesn't really feel like gambling, but you're taking like educated guesses on what's going to happen. It feels like more skill than luck. And according to this poll by the Harris Institute, or was it the Harris poll, 67% of sports gamblers agree. I've never heard of the Harris poll, but I don't really have any reason to question the statistics because, anecdotally anyway, literally every one of my friends or people I know who sports bet, they all say this line to me where it's more skill than luck. They feel like it's a skill. And you combine that with the fact that number two, going back to my it's what you feel point earlier, people feel like they're in a bad spot, but they're convinced by ads online that they're only like one parlay away from making it out the trenches. That really makes gambling look so appealing. They're literally doing the meme to themselves in real life. So you combine those two, that's why I think sports betting is getting really big. But what the hell does this have to do with meme coins? Well, I'm sure you can make the connection, but I think a big reason why people buy meme coins is that it's the same reason why people gamble on sports specifically. Not like the casino or whatever, though maybe they're pretty related. I think sports specifically, you know, they feel squeezed and you just need one more hit to get out the trenches. But, you know, that's true for all gambling. The reason why it's more like sports betting in particular, it's the part where it doesn't feel like 100% luck. And people who buy crypto, and not just meme coins really, but just crypto in general, will tell you that it's more skill than luck. You pick the coin, and since it's crypto, you can use tools like Bubble Maps or SoulScan to look at all the transactions, who holds the coin, and all this info on it, so it feels like you're in control, even if that stuff doesn't really affect the price. You know, the only thing that affects the price is just supply and demand and like weird liquidity pool stuff. And all those data can really be faked pretty easily. It just makes you feel like you're making a smart choice, and that eventually, since you're so skilled and you're basing all these decisions off so much research, you'll no doubt hit the next Dogecoin. And of course, that seed of you being able to get super rich is in everybody's mind, since everybody knows a guy who knows a guy who knows another guy who made some money off like Fartcoin in 2013. So you're also going to have that in mind. You're going to have the meme in your mind. So of course you're going to go for it, especially if you just feel like you have no other option to get ahead. But however, I also don't think it's 100% about the money. I think if all you see when you look at a meme coin is a scam pump and dump, I think you're only like 90% right. Because I think obviously it's mostly about the money, but take a look at this. This is Maslow's pyramid of some bullshit, you saw in health class. And the way I interpret this pyramid, well, technically it's a triangle, but the way I interpret this is that money is like at the bottom. I mean, obviously it's really important, and most of your problems come from not having enough money. And I do subscribe to the idea that you should like make as much money as possible, and money does equal happiness. Anyone who says otherwise is just coping. I mean, up to a certain extent anyway. Obviously, if all you have is money, you have money, but you have nothing. But I'm getting off topic. It's not the only thing that's super important. At the top of the pyramid, you have stuff like, belonging, self-esteem, and, that stuff is also some of the most important things you need. But people now are lonelier than they ever were before. It's no secret that Gen Z is like the loneliest generation. Most Gen Z people feel lonely. They're dating less. They're having sex less. Not me, though. And that's obviously really bad, because that's part of what makes you human. Gen Z is also the least religious generation in history. And I know it's controversial, like you can argue that religion is a net negative, but I don't think it's controversial to say that, one, people just naturally want to be a part of something and be a part of something bigger than themselves. And I think that religion can fill that void for a lot of people. I think that's why it got so big. You just want to be, just a part of something. I mean, it doesn't work for me personally. I'm not like super religious, but I can see why people would like that stuff. And number two, of course it's bad to just blindly believe in something, but if you're going to, I feel like you might as well believe in something like perfect, like God or Jesus or something like that, Allah, whatever you believe in. It's like having a good role model you can look up to. And I think naturally people just want something to, 100% believe in, because, well, it's just nice to know that, there's something out there and it's perfect or whatever, it's just nice. And if you don't have religion, like most Gen Z people, I think people start looking for other things to believe in, which brings me here. Religion equals meme coins. Let me cook. What I'm getting at here is that since we naturally want to be in a community and believe in something, and in a world where that becomes a lot harder and a lot less common, I think meme coins can fill that void for a lot of people, especially meme coins with a purpose. And before I list these two coins that I'm going to use in this example, it's not financial advice. Don't go out and buy these or whatever. These are two meme coins that I think really prove this point really well. So that is SPX 6900 and GigaChad coin. Again, just an example, but SPX 6900 and Giga are like actual communities that try to promote positivity in the world. And that's why I think that they're some of the biggest new meme coins in the world. I mean, you could say Dogecoin, and I think Dogecoin fits in too, but I'm just focusing on like new ones. But anyway, GigaChad coin has a fitness line and promotes like a GigaChad lifestyle of like working out and reading and, all that stuff. And the community is super supportive to anyone who wants to better themselves that way. Giga is successful because they promote good living, and the people who hold it are supportive. You're in a community of like-minded people who want to see you succeed. And likewise for SPX 6900, which I'm just going to call SPX, by the way, for the rest of the video, is successful because you're surrounded by people who also want to see you succeed. It's pretty similar to Giga. And, you're all united with the goal of flipping the stock market. That's the whole purpose of that coin. I think the way I see it, it's like flipping the stock market is their religion in a way, because, it's just the thing you believe without any doubts. It doesn't matter how crazy it is as long as people believe it. And people do believe it. I'll put up some tweets on the screen, but people do generally believe it. The way I see it is that in a time where people are lonelier than ever and have no religion to believe in, they're going to start drifting to things that give them just that. Community that will help you, a purpose to give you, and a goal to believe in. I think that some of these new age, not scam meme coins with a purpose and community like the two I just mentioned kind of fill the void that a lot of people are missing. So I don't have a transition for this next part, but there's two other smaller things I also think I should mention really quick. So the first thing is called the barbell strategy. So in short, it's a strategy inspired by the Black Swan. The book, I actually have it right here. The Black Swan. I haven't read it yet, but I bought it like 2 years ago to read it. Anyway, it's inspired by that book, and it basically says like, if you were to rank every single investment from like as little risk as possible to maximum risk and only pick the ends to invest in, that's supposed to be like generally the best strategy to do. In general anyway, there's like a little more to it. But for this video, all you gotta know is that one side of the barbell is safe investments and the other side is like the new exotic risky stuff to invest in. My take on it is that each generation kind of has their own barbell just based off their options at the time. And Murad on Twitter has a pretty good picture for this and I couldn't find it. So I just like made up my own. But anyway, basically boomers back in the day, they had bonds that was obviously safe. And on the exotic side, they had, the S&P 500. Back in the day, stocks was just a niche thing that rich people did with their money. And it was kind of exotic and weird, but people did it and made a lot of money. But then after that, Gen Z comes around, they saw all these boomers making a lot of money in the stock market. So they were like, okay, this is just something I should do. But after that, they had the NASDAQ 100 at the same time, back in like the 90s or whatever. And that was like, the dot-com bubble. So that was their version of the risky assets because, tech was like such a new thing, the internet, and people wanted to get on it. And then millennials after that, with their heckin' doggos and Harry Potter books, he seriously didn't just say that, did he? They had the NASDAQ 100, like 2008 or whatever, because they saw the dot-com bubble rise and fall. They were like, okay, now that it's fallen a bit, and the internet's definitely here to stay, this is just a safe bet on the American economy. This is just something I should be buying with their heckin' doggos. So they did that, but at the same time, Bitcoin just started coming around, 2008, 2009. And that was like magic internet money. So it was risky, it was exotic, it was new. So, that's what some people did. And Gen Z, my generation, we see, and I can tell you, anecdotally again, that every Gen Z owns Bitcoin, at least. I don't know a Gen Z who doesn't at least own Bitcoin. And realistically, it's a lot more than just Bitcoin, which I'm gonna talk about in a little bit. But basically, we saw Bitcoin, regardless of what you think about Bitcoin, we've seen it go up so much that we're like, this is a pretty safe bet. This doesn't seem like it's going anywhere, so we're gonna buy Bitcoin. On the edge of this barbell, we have meme coins. And I just think, meme coins, they're new, they're exotic. You see people making a lot of money with it, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna try it out. I really think that meme coins is just our version of Bitcoin and of the NASDAQ in the 90s and of the S&P in the 70s and 80s. It's just our version of the exotic high risk part of the barbell. And I just think it's our new exciting thing that's interesting. I don't know. That's just how I see it. And also, before the boomers in the comments get mad, I know that as a Gen Z, I could buy bonds. As in, that's something I could do. I know how to do it. You should go on the website. I could certainly do that. And another reason I want to bring up why people buy meme coins is that I also see them as a form of expression. More specifically, kind of an expression of rebellion against the state of the world. I mean, we obviously live in uncertain times, especially with stuff like AI, tariffs, Middle East, all that stuff. I don't really need to list it out. You know already. You live here. But I just think it's natural to want to act out when stuff like that is happening, since humans need certainty, And before we express this discontent with the system or whatever through like protests and like Occupy Wall Street in like 2008 or whatever. And in 2001, I think that was kind of expressed through like the whole GameStop AMC thing. And I believe that meme coins are just a natural evolution of how we express that discontent with the world. And I think it kind of works. Like every person in like traditional finance or whatever, they're like, oh, meme coins, they're so stupid. But yeah, that's pretty much why I think people buy meme coins. Maybe there's some other stuff, but these are the reasons why I think people are buying meme coins. And I know personally, as a meme coin investor, I do own some. Those are reasons why I was attracted to the space. You know, more specifically, I just wanted to make enough money to pay for college. I'm transferring to USC, which is like the most expensive college I think in America, or like in the top 5 or something. And I also live in New Hampshire, which if you don't know, is like literally as far away as you can get from the school. So it's gonna be really expensive. But I stayed in the meme coin communities or the meme coin space mostly because of the community and mission surrounding Giga and SPX specifically, which is why I brought up those two. Those were, you know, the most impactful for me. I asked Twitter what they thought, but I got 0 replies on my tweet. So I hope I didn't miss anything. And I'm not upset that I got 0 replies or anything. You know, I get it. I'm terrible. Nobody likes me. My dog won't even look at me. He threw up as soon as he saw me this morning because he's so disgusted with me. And no girl will ever like me back except maybe you. Maybe you can subscribe and like and show me that people don't hate me. But anyway, if I had to make a graph, it would be like 65% money, 30% of the community surrounding the coins, 10% just the fact that they're new and just how we express, you know, rebellion or whatever against the system. Because it's obvious to me that like most people are here just to make money. That's, you know, part of the allure of it. But I think that if you think that it's just money, I think you're not getting the full picture. Because I really think if it was just about the money, then people would just like, I don't know, wouldn't go through the trouble of finding what coins to buy, actually buying a coin, which is actually really hard if it's not on Coinbase. I mean, real fans of me will see my I got scammed video that came out about a year ago, because it is really hard to find the coin, find the right version of that coin, and it's just a whole lot of trouble. I think if it was just about money, people would just like gamble or buy options on Robinhood or whatever. But I don't know, that's just what I think. That's about all I got. You know, am I crazy? Did I miss anything? Am I crazy, or am I front running a narrative? We'll see. And obviously, not financial advice or anything. I just think they're super interesting. And don't forget to subscribe. Watch my other videos. They're not really meme coin related. They're actually really different than this type of video, but I don't know. I think they're still good. And yeah, that's about it. See ya.